Your cat has never seen a sunrise outside. Never chased a real bird through real grass. And somewhere in the back of your mind, that feels like a failure. But what if the guilt you carry every time you close that door is built on a myth science has already disproven? What if the life you feel bad about is actually the safer one, the calmer one, the one their whole body was built to want? By the end of this video, you'll understand something almost no owner realizes about the one thing your cat can never tell you, no matter how much they trust you. It's the reason the earliest signs of a life-threatening illness get missed in cats every single day. And it only works in your favor if your cat lives exactly the life you've been feeling guilty about. Let's start with a number every indoor cat owner underestimates. Cats kept exclusively indoors commonly live into their late teens, and veterinary researchers regularly document indoor cats reaching 18, even 20 years old. Outdoor and free-roaming cats don't get that same reliable number, and the reason is unsettling. According to mortality data compiled by veterinary epidemiologists, a large share of outdoor cat deaths are never recorded at all. No vet visit. No diagnosis. Just an empty food bowl and an owner who never finds out what happened. Feral and unowned outdoor cats, studied extensively in shelter medicine literature, often survive only a handful of years. Same species. Same instincts. Same body. The difference is almost always what's on the other side of the door. That's not a coincidence. It's exposure. Outside, a cat isn't the apex predator their body language suggests. To a moving vehicle at night, they're invisible. To a coyote or a loose dog, they're prey. To disease carried by other cats, they're just the next host. None of these risks announce themselves in advance. That's what makes them dangerous. Every one of those threats gets erased the moment your cat's world becomes your home instead of the whole neighborhood. Not by luck. By a decision you make and keep making, every single day. That part alone should change how you feel about that door. Now here's where it gets more interesting, because longer life isn't the only thing indoor cats gain. Researchers who study feline vocal communication, including work out of Cornell University, have found something cats rarely do with each other. Adult cats barely meow at other adult cats. It's mostly a behavior reserved for humans. Indoor cats, spending nearly all their social energy on one person, tend to develop a far wider vocal range directed specifically at their owner. That's not random noise. It's a language your cat built because you are worth learning to talk to. An outdoor cat splits that same attention across an entire territory, rival cats, borders, prey to track. Their owner gets whatever social bandwidth is left over. Your indoor cat didn't have that competition, so all of it, the watching, the learning, the communicating, got concentrated on you. Here's a detail most owners never connect to any of this. The specific chirps, trills, and rising meows your cat uses on you were shaped by years of trial and error, tested and refined on the one audience that actually responds. You are that audience. Nobody else gets the full vocabulary. Researchers at Oregon State University, led by feline cognition specialist Dr. Kristen Vitale, have studied attachment bonds between cats and their owners directly. Their findings echoed something long assumed to be true only of dogs and young children: secure attachment. A meaningful share of cats studied treated their owner as a source of safety, calming down in their presence and seeking them out under stress. That kind of bond needs repetition and proximity to form. It needs you to actually be there. An indoor life gives a cat nothing but time and access to build exactly that. Dependence gets treated like a weakness. In a relationship built on trust, it has a different name: closeness. Sit with that for a second. If you're starting to see your own cat differently right now, there's another video on this channel that breaks down exactly what your cat's body language is telling you in real time. It's linked below, and it's the natural next step from everything you're learning here. So if the bond is that real, doesn't your cat still miss something out there? Picture what you imagine their dream life looks like. Rolling in grass, chasing something through golden light. That image is yours, not theirs. You're projecting a human idea of freedom onto a brain built for something else entirely. Feline behavior researchers, including work behind the internationally recognized Feline Environmental Needs Guidelines from the International Society of Feline Medicine, describe feline well-being as resting on a small set of core needs. Secure territory. Predictable resources. A sense of control over their surroundings. Notice what's missing from that list. Novelty. Adventure. Wide open horizons. Those are human cravings, not feline ones. To a cat, the unfamiliar isn't exciting. It's a threat that hasn't introduced itself yet. That's why a new grocery bag gets inspected like it might be armed, and moving a couch 2 feet triggers a full investigation. Now run the outdoors through those same 3 needs. Territory outside is never secure. It's contested nightly by cats who never agreed to share a neighborhood. Resources outside are unpredictable by definition. And control, an outdoor cat controls almost nothing, which is exactly why researchers studying feline stress physiology link outdoor exposure to elevated, near-constant vigilance. Your home flips every part of that equation. Territory, undisputed. Resources, arriving on schedule. Control total, down to the exact sunbeam on the exact windowsill at the exact hour. When your cat claims that same spot every single afternoon, at the same hour, in the same patch of sun, that's not boredom you're watching. Researchers would call that mastery of environment. Full, quiet, total mastery, the kind an outdoor cat never gets to experience because the map keeps changing under their feet. There's a physiological signature behind that mastery too. Studies on feline stress markers consistently find that cats in stable, predictable environments show lower baseline cortisol than cats navigating contested or unfamiliar territory. Lower stress hormones aren't just a mood. Over years, they translate into a body that isn't constantly running a low-grade emergency response. That's the quiet, invisible cost outdoor cats carry that never shows up in a single dramatic moment. It just accumulates. Think of it less like a single injury and more like interest compounding in the wrong direction, small, constant, and easy to miss until it isn't. There's a behavioral marker for it too. Cats living under chronic environmental stress show more over-grooming, more hiding, and more reactivity to sudden noise or movement, patterns feline behaviorists specifically screen for during consultations. Compare that to a cat who knows exactly where every threat in their world isn't. That's a nervous system that gets to rest, and rest, it turns out, is not a small thing for a species built to stay half alert its entire life. The grass and the birds, you can still offer those, through a screened window, supervised time outside, or a harness for the adventurous ones. A cat can smell the season change through a screen just as easily as it can from the middle of a yard, and it can do it without a single one of the risks attached to actually being out there. None of that requires opening the door and hoping for the best. The outside world was never the problem. Risking their life to reach it was. And once you see it that way, the whole deprived indoor cat narrative starts to look like something built for humans, not for cats. It's a story we tell ourselves because freedom feels like the highest value we know, the thing we'd want most if our own choices were taken away. Cats were never asking for that story. They were never running the same calculation we assume they're running. Now, the thing I promised you at the start of this video. There is one thing your cat will never tell you, no matter how much they trust you, no matter how many years you've spent together, no matter how well you think you know their every sound and expression. Not because they don't want to. Because an instinct older than domestication itself won't let them. Your cat evolved as both predator and prey. In the wild, any animal that visibly shows weakness becomes a target, either for a rival looking to take their territory or for something bigger looking for an easy meal. So cats developed one of the most stubborn survival instincts documented in veterinary behavior science. Mask the pain, act normal, until the body physically can't keep up the act anymore. It's not stoicism the way we'd think of it in a person. It's older, more automatic, and it doesn't switch off just because the animal happens to live on a couch instead of in a forest. Veterinary professionals will tell you the same thing almost word for word. By the time a cat visibly acts sick, the underlying issue has often been developing for months, sometimes longer. Ask anyone who's worked a night shift in emergency veterinary medicine, and they'll tell you the same story in different words. The cat that suddenly got sick almost never suddenly got sick at all. It isn't a choice your cat is making. It's older than their species. And it works against them constantly, quietly, in the background of a life that otherwise looks completely normal from the outside. Here's the part almost nobody frames correctly. The earliest warning signs of the conditions that most commonly take cats from their owners, kidney disease, diabetes, thyroid disorders, urinary blockages, don't show up in behavior the way we'd expect an illness to show up. There's no limping, no whimpering, no obvious change in energy for a long time. They show up in small, unglamorous details. Drinking more water than usual. Bigger clumps in the litter box, or more of them. Food left uneaten, or eaten more slowly than before. A water bowl that empties faster in a week than it used to empty in 2. Veterinary internal medicine specialists often describe these as the boring symptoms, the ones too easy to explain away as a hot day, a picky mood, or just getting older. That's exactly what makes them dangerous. They don't look like an emergency. They look like nothing at all, which is precisely why they get missed until the illness has already had a head start most owners never gave it permission to have. A cat's whiskers, ears, even the rhythm of their blinking can shift subtly when something's wrong, small signals that mean nothing to a stranger but everything to someone watching closely, every day in the same rooms, on the same schedule, close enough to notice when something that's always been the same suddenly isn't. An outdoor cat's owner almost never sees any of that. Their cat drinks from puddles, eats somewhere else, and hides the rest, out of sight, out of reach, spread across yards and alleys and neighbors' porches that no single person is ever watching closely enough. The one instinct working against that cat stays hidden, because the evidence is scattered across an entire neighborhood instead of one home, and nobody is piecing it together. Your indoor cat can't hide from you the same way. Every clue lands somewhere you're actually looking. That litter box you scoop every day isn't a chore. It's information, collected daily, whether you realize you're reading it or not. That water bowl is a quiet, constant check-in you're running without even realizing it, a small daily measurement most owners never think to call a measurement at all. Even the spot they choose to sleep in tells you something. A sudden preference for hiding under furniture is often one of the earliest signs something feels wrong to them, long before any other symptom becomes obvious to the naked eye. So is a change in how they greet you. A cat who normally meets you at the door and suddenly doesn't is telling you something, just not in words, and it's easy to miss if you're not already paying attention to what normal looks like for that specific animal. You get to notice change in days, not months. And with the conditions that matter most, days are the entire difference between catching something early, when treatment is simpler and outcomes are far better, and finding out too late, when the options left are limited and the cost, in every sense, is much higher. So the next time you close that door behind you and feel a flicker of guilt, replace it with this instead. You didn't take the world away from your cat. You removed the version of it that was quietly working against them, the version with the traffic, the predators, the diseases, and the invisible losses that never make it into anyone's story because there's rarely a story to tell. You gave them years they were never guaranteed to have. A language they built just for you. A bond secure enough to lean on. A body that isn't running on constant, low-level alarm. And a home where the smallest signal still reached someone paying attention, instead of dissolving into a neighborhood that was never watching in the first place. And you gave yourself the one advantage an outdoor cat's owner almost never gets, the ability to actually see them, clearly, consistently, before it's too late to matter. That's not deprivation. Researchers studying feline welfare would call that something closer to the opposite of deprivation entirely. It's presence. It's protection. It's a kind of love that doesn't announce itself, it just shows up every day, in the little things you notice, the water bowl, the litter box, the sunbeam on the windowsill at the exact same hour, the sound they make when they hear your key in the door. If this shifted how you think about that door, tell me the moment it clicked for you in the comments. And if you want to know exactly what your cat is trying to tell you through their litter box, their water bowl, and the way they move, that's the video waiting for you next.